Should we say that survival is enough even when justice is absent? There was an incident that happened in the April of 1945, just after the Second World War. So in the April of 1945, the British troop invaded one of the Nazis' concentration camp in Germany called Bergen Belsen concentration camp. And what they found really shocked the whole world. Tens of thousands of prisoners suffering from extreme starvation. And these prisoners were also suffering from all kinds of diseases. They were too weak to stand or even to speak. And another shocking aspect was that there were a lot, like thousands of unburied corpses. So after the liberation, the British Red Cross, in conjunction with the Order of St. John, established some sort of emergency medical services, and their job was, or their primary job was, to take care of the survivors. So they were supposed to bath them, to have their hair cut, and also to give them some basic medical attention just for their survival. Now, the process was very, very important or necessary for the survival of these bodies, but it was deeply dehumanizing. Because imagine, the bodies of these people, or these people, are to be processed before they can be recognized. That process is dehumanizing. So as these bodies were being treated, were being, taken care of, there was a Scottish artist by name Doris Zinkeisen. So Doris Zinkeisen was working with the British Red Cross. So she was sent to document this whole incident, the process of giving relief to these survivors. So Doris Zinkeisen went there and made some on-site sketch. She made some sketch and then later went to develop it into a painting called Human Laundry. I want to speak about this painting under two important headings. Number one, the erasure of identity. Number two, the survival without justice. To begin with, number one, if you look at the bodies in this painting, they are half naked or completely naked. And what that means is that these bodies have been stripped of important markers like class, markers like profession, markers like culture, and even their individuality, because their hair has been cut, their clothing has been removed or stripped, and also their names are unspoken. So now, names and clothing are very, very important because they tell us where a person comes from. For example, in our African cultures, when someone calls a certain name or wears a certain attire, we know that this person comes from here. But these two important markers have been stripped from these survivors, and so we do not know where they come from. But then, social justice movement consistently emphasize the right to be seen as fully human. However, this painting shows what happens when that right is violently revoked. The survivors are reduced to bodies that must be processed before they can be recognized as people. The danger here is not only about physical death, but also social death. For me, it's a kind of a complete demolition or a complete destruction of dignity, identity, and selfhood. Now, the second point: survival without justice. If you look at the painting, the perpetrators are not present in the painting. The painting contains no justice, no form of justice. The painting only presents survival, and there's no accountability and there's no reckoning. The oppressors are absent, completely absent in the scene. They are invisible, and in fact, they are unnamed. So, from a justice perspective, the absence of the perpetrators is very, very devastating. It first of all presents an unjust society. It also presents a society that is not ready to take care of its citizens. And that presents a global issue whereby, in most cases, perpetrators of certain actions are left unnamed or invisible. And in most cases, justice is denied or delayed. So, there's an important question which this painting asks: is survival enough without justice? Is survival enough without justice? This was the question I began this video with. So let's look at a case scenario that will help us to better understand the magnitude of this question. We heard recently that over 300 students of a certain school in Kwara State, Nigeria, were kidnapped. So after they kidnapped, the federal government paid a certain ransom to these kidnappers, and the students were released. No one arrested these kidnappers. In fact, we don't know them. And as we speak, nothing has been done about it. Everywhere is silent. So now, can we say that since these children were released, justice has been served? So, the question again: is survival enough when justice is absent? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you very much.